Well, I had to redo everything because I was excited about the fact that Fernando Alonso, a 42-year-old, soon 42-year-old, who's right now 41 years old, won his 100th podium. But it just came out that FIA and the stewards at the Jeddah Grand Prix, at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, have handed Aston Martin and Fernando Alonso 10-second penalty for not falling, not for not uh doing the right procedure for the 5-second penalty that they had to serve. It's ridiculous. So definitely it's thrown you all off what am I talking about. So let's start for the race, for what really happened. But before that, welcome to another episode of Sports with Monga. We are doing the Formula One reaction for Formula One reaction video for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix with Sergio Perez, the man behind me here, winning his 5th career win in Formula One. Back-to-back podiums for him in Jeddah. He won last year as well, starting from pole. And same here. And there's a lot of kind of inter-team battles that happen in that race as well that I'm going to touch upon. And I think I should not wait. I think I should just kind of jump onto it. And Max Verstappen starting P15 was the main thing. Like, he's starting P15. He was going to come early on. He was going to kind of charge from behind. That everybody knew. Leclerc was P12. So everybody knew there was going to be a battle between 12 and 15 and how it's going to pan out. But Max does what Max does. He just kind of blew past everybody. Of course, a good place to get a safety car for kind of backing up the field again, getting a cheap pit stop, which kind of did not go in Ferrari's view. I think in the 20th lap, that's when the safety car came out. Max Verstappen then put on the hards, and it just went on. Like, he was gone. He started with the mediums, so that was he had the right tires every time. He was both starting on the medium and then went on the hard. But that was a race done and over there. Why am I talking about Max Verstappen in particular is because the end of the race, around the lap 44, 45, 5 laps left, Sergio Perez's race engineer comes on radio and says, you need to do 32.6 plus 4. Basically they're saying you have to push more, but then Perez is basically saying, why am I pushing more? I have my teammate behind me. There's no reason for us to push this engine and push the way we are working. There's no point of us to risk it, right? There's always a reliability risk when you kind of extend or try to do it. And Max Verstappen, on the other hand, is asking, what's the fastest time? Because he, of course, feels that he wants to be, he wants to lead. He never just leaves, right? Max Verstappen just doesn't leave. He's one guy that, you just don't. He's just one of those people who you feel like, why? Just why? Just let it be. Just let it be in a way. But then that's what he does. Max Verstappen just does not let it go. And that's what has happened. Eventually, he puts in a 131.9, which takes the championship point, which also means that he is, of course, it's too early. He is leading the F1 Drivers 2023 championship by 1 point. And who's behind him? At that 1 point, that was because of the fastest lap. That's Sergio Perez. And that was so weird when Sergio Perez was told in the post-race reaction with the at the end of the race that Max Verstappen got the fastest lap. He was like, what? We were told to back off. Why did he not back off? And then it was funny when they were all inside before they're going to the trophy ceremony, and Max Verstappen is like, yeah, I did that. And he's like, Max Verstappen is like, and Perez was like, what didn't the team tell you to cool down? And he's like, no, I just asked. And then, they were like, oh, let's go. But then this was going to be an interesting conversation again with Christian Horner. It again shows Sergio Perez being a nice guy, but we have a Max Verstappen named person in that team who is so determined to not lose ever. He will not put his team in front of him, anybody else. He will not put his team in front of himself. It's him first, and then if it aligns with his laurels, only then. And that's ruthless, and that's what people love about him. Max Verstappen is loved because of this attitude. Coming down to Fernando Alonso and Aston Martin. Aston Martin got almost, I would say, come on, man, just hand it over. Like, how to do this to let's give a 10-second penalty to Fernando Alonso. Okay, at the start of the race, Fernando Alonso starts a little on the left. He is not in his right grid spot. It's a little on the left where he's starting off, and we saw that in Bahrain Grand Prix as well, where the Alpine driver Esteban Ocon was a little on the right. He got a 5-second penalty. Same for Alonso. Alonso got a 5-second penalty, which basically meant that he had to serve it. But then when he goes to serve it, he basically you're not supposed to touch the car for 5 seconds, and this is under a safety car. But then the jack behind touches the car, I think, or is already under, where he's given a 10-second penalty, which is in line with what they was given to Ocon in Bahrain Grand Prix. So that's what's happening around, and that's what he's trying to manage. Mercedes, of course, P3, hence Alonso falls down to P4. Mercedes of Russell goes to P3. It was interesting because he was kind of fighting. Russell was like, does he still have 5 seconds? Can I pee in 5 seconds? But at least the 10-second penalty, of course, he was there. But then Hamilton was like 10.1 or 10.3 seconds. So he still keeps at P5. I think Hamilton will be a little more happier because he moves forward. He was not happy with the weekend, how things went in qualifying or in the free practice sessions. That's something that he has to kind of look into, and the team has to look for kind of how because he's already said that he doesn't feel connected with the team, with the car, not the team, but the car. That's not happy going for Lewis Hamilton. Ferrari with nowhere, P6, P7. Leclerc started P12, starts on a soft, does kind of come to a P7 level and gets stuck there because of the DRS train ahead of him. And Ferrari were almost like saying, okay, this is good enough for us. Let's stay here. It's good enough. We would not kind of let's not do too much. Let's not invent something and just be there. And Alpine, it's funny, like Ocon and Gasly finishing P8 and P9. That was pretty interesting to watch as well for me. I was like, that's nice. That's a nice result for this team who have been struggling for some time over and trying to get this done. Like that's really nice. And Ocon and Gasly finishing with, they did have some battles. They came from behind, but they did finish well. So, and a last battle that was happening still on the field. Haas of Kevin Magnussen was fighting with Yuki Tsunoda, who was frustrated because he lost the last point in the last 2 laps as well. So Kevin Magnussen finished P10. He takes the last point of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Yuki Tsunoda P11, Nico Hülkenberg P12, Zhou Guanyu P13, P14 to Alpha Tauri's Nick de Vries, and Oscar Piastri taking over, or kind of he lost. McLaren has had the worst season last started. Let's be honest there. He lost a part of his front wing in the first lap, and he just kind of went to 20th, and that was it. That was race done. Norris, similar. He had some issues as well. We had 2 DNFs. Alexander Albon, who basically had a brake issue. He said his brakes have failed. That was pretty interesting to hear from a Formula One car. But Aston Martin's Lance Stroll, we still don't know. It seems like it was a brake issue, but we don't know what exactly why. Why did he kind of have to DNF? That caused the safety car in the lap 16th, as I said, around the 20th lap. So 16th lap, Alexander Albon DNF'd in 27th lap. Valtteri Bottas forgettable race for him. Alfa Romeo are nowhere right now with Zhou Guanyu and Valtteri Bottas. They still are figuring out their car. I think Nick de Vries was a little unknown as well. Where was he? Like, how did he feel? Because there was not a lot of shots with him. He was not fighting anyone, almost like on his own. But then there was a DRS strain of Yuki Tsunoda, Nico Hulkenberg, and Zhou Guanyu, where Logan Sargent was trying to push as well. That was nice to see him kind of putting his elbows out. But here we are. It's done. It's now next to Albert Park. It's an Australian Grand Prix in a fortnight from now, and that's going to be very interesting and how things go from here. But what is more interesting? What is more interesting to catch right now is this season already over? Because we are already seeing Red Bull at 87 points, 2 races down, Aston Martin at 38 points, and Mercedes locked in with 38 points. Ferrari at 26. There's a bigger gap now. So is Red Bull already running away with another P1 and P2? And there is still something, a chinks in the armor to something to happen. I feel that Checo Perez is the king of streets. Christian Horner needs to again think about like the team dynamics and how number 1, number 2, what's going to happen. Max Verstappen, will he ever kind of think for his teammate or be like, okay, it's fine for him to kind of get the point? Or will he always be a nuisance and Perez will always have to kind of bend over? That's something to be seen. Russell, everybody kind of fighting, like, and everybody fighting other, but so basically everybody said that Red Bull is the next level. They're not fighting anybody. Nobody's fighting Red Bulls. Everybody's fighting themselves. For the Aston Martins, Ferrari, and Mercedes are fighting themselves. Then Alpine, Alpha Tauris, and Alfa Romeos, along with Haas, are fighting, and then Williams as well, part of it. McLaren is the only one who's out of the picture right now because everybody knows the struggles that they have had, and that seems it's going to take a long time for them to figure that out. Let me know in the comment section below what do you think about this, and let's go to Albert Park. Looking exciting. Gonna be interesting to see what happens. Do like this video, do share, and do subscribe. And Checo Perez, masterclass.